Good morning, traders. Welcome back to another live stream. If you're new, my name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. Before we hop on these charts on this beautiful Tuesday, February 17th, getting the week started after a holiday on Monday, yesterday, President's Day. Make sure you view us on the charts. Trading is very risky. Most traders lose money. If you trade, you're probably going to lose all or more of the money that you intend to trade with. It's a silly thing to do. Nobody should trade. Anything I say or do here or anywhere else is for entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research, make your own trading decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even if funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer. This is I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top One Features, Code RDF, Bookmap, Edgeful, and others. What's going on, chat? What's happening, guys? How we doing? How we doing, man? How are you guys feeling this morning? Appreciate you guys hopping on. We are started nice and early here. It is 9:09 a.m. Eastern. No pre-market stream this week. Run back around that normal time, but we're gonna run these a little bit longer. That's my game plan. What's going on, guys? Good morning. Let's see. Slothfather on kick, Jess on kick. What's up, guys? What's up? What's up? How we doing? Let's see who's over here on YouTube. Good morning. YouTube chat's tripping out. What's going on, YouTube chat? Maritime Trades, what's happening, guys? Hope you all had a good long weekend. I had a great long weekend, man. Good morning, Zach. Good morning, everybody. What's up? What's up, Marcy, Souls of Zero, Tom Ward, Purple Ninja Facts, Dwayne, what's up? Good morning, my friends. My first payout on the Ignite I bought because of you. Cheers. Felipe, W's in the chat. Immediate W's in the chat. There we go. Taking the first payout. I love to hear it, dude. Congratulations to you, man. That's awesome. And on the Ignite account, that's nothing to bat an eye at. That Ignite account is it's a great account. It's inexpensive, but it's got some tight rules behind that one, man. That's no joke. So well done, man. Love to hear that. Absolutely love to hear that. That is awesome. We got a couple W's in the chat. Love to see it. Omega, good morning. Good morning. What's going on, guys? Appreciate you hopping on. Gonna go ahead and get started, man. We're gonna get some live trading in today, of course, as always. Finished off the week nice and strong on Friday, man. Putting some profit in the live accounts, some profit in the sim accounts. We'll talk about the trading I got rolling, man. Some of the stuff that I'm cooking on. But first, I do want to take a look at YM. Getting ready to open up here in about 20 minutes for NYSE Open. I have my Top One Futures 15K live account, some prop live account, loaded up here with TradingView through Tradovate, try not to mess it up, and Top One Futures, right? Like 47 T names on everything. All the trading companies decided to start their software and and platforms and prop firms with a T, right? Big surprise. We're gonna try to get some trading in on that. And I can see some potential setups coming for me, man. So, before we do anything else, let's get some analysis in. I had something else I was supposed to do. Where's my note? Hold on, because I've really been slipping. Before I get analysis, I said before we do anything else, before we get analysis in, I had one other thing that I was supposed to do. Okay. So, as you guys know, we run giveaways almost every dang day on the live streams here. And plot twist, we're gonna do a giveaway later today, right? A little bit later. We'll get some trading in first. But in order to be part of this giveaway, I'm always adding little new things in. Sometimes it's just a form. Sometimes you gotta, click a button or two. This one, you have to be following on Instagram. You gotta follow on Instagram. So, link to my Instagram is in the chat on Kick on YouTube. If you're on X, link is in my bio if you want to check that out. But you're gonna have to be following on IG. Just throwing that out there now, giving you guys that are on early, the early heads up so you're not scrambling later. You will have to be following on IG for a chance to win this giveaway later today. All right, so. Now that we got that out of the way, we focus up here. We got the daily chart pulled up here on YM. This is TradingView on the daily. Just taking a look at what we got going on here, man. Higher time frame perspective, no zones, no markup on this chart at all. Completely raw for you guys to get started. This is interesting, right? Obviously, what have we been doing, right? Like, pretty hard to say we're in a downtrend. I don't know. Maybe you're like, nah, Zach, you know what, man? Do you see that's down, right? We're going down right here. So down. Bears are in control. I don't think so. I don't think so, right? I think this is what this looks like to me. We zoom out even further. you're still going to have a tough case to say that we're in a correction, in a recession, right? In a downward trending market. We're pushed to the upside. Big surprise. We're continually putting all-time highs in. We're not only in a really strong uptrend, we're blasting through all-time highs, right? So far, what have we done? Consolidated up here a lot. As we zoom out, consolidated a lot here to start the year. Really big choppy consolidation. Pop to the upside really aggressively. Getting started this month, right? This is February 6th. Yeah, February 6th. Big pop to the upside. Consolidation around all-time highs. And now we've kind of drifted lower, right? Didn't break the high, didn't break the high, didn't break the high. We swept yesterday's high so far in pre-market. But we got this little doji candle forming. Now, just to start to frame this out, if we were going to break and retest, what would be a pretty clean spot to break and retest? Right here, right? Well, whoa, big surprise. We chopped around. And now, break. Retest. If we took off from here, would I be surprised? No, right? Not at all. Prior highs broken in a downtrend. In an uptrend, right? Are being retested. So we could see that today. I got some interest in these lows down here, right? We didn't pull a crazy clean out sweep down. We certainly didn't sweep down before we took off here. I could see the need, whether or not we're going to go higher or lower, to come back all the way down to these 48, 300s, 335s, right? Right down in here, this high volume node on the daily, to really just piss everybody off and clean out all the longs, right? As we so often do in the markets. Before we go higher, we go lower. Before we go lower, we go higher, right? Kind of just the way the market moves, not in a straight line. So I could see that as a really aggressive push lower. I could see this area down here where we took off from February 6th into the 700s, 48,700s as an interesting area. I could certainly see prior day's low as an interesting area. And then all the way back up here into the 50,000, let's say 250s, if we are going to start to get above the 49,850s, right? So let's mark some areas out on the 15-minute chart, right? Let's zoom back in. You know what? I could go right off the daily on this one, man. Let's use the 1 hour. Again, I'm not too picky when it comes to time frames. I like the 15-minute for the most part for my trading on YM. But let's take a look at the 1 hour, and I'm gonna go ahead and mark off this area right around yesterday's low. Friday's low. Oh yeah, sorry, we had a half day Monday. This volume profile is encompassing all. This is a little bit jacked up. This volume profile is encompassing all of Monday as well, so I don't know that I like this so much, because now we're into Tuesday. So I was like, what are we doing here with the volume profiles? But this is Friday's low. So let's go ahead and mark that out. Holiday low yesterday. If you guys don't know, markets were closed. Stock market, bond market, banks were closed in the U.S. For President's Day, we had a half day here in the futures market. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this zone out. Coming off of Friday's low, coming off this high volume node right here, next big area of volume to the downside, right? We got a little bit in here, right below, session lows, but it also coincides with this high over here, got close over here. Some tops and bottoms, highs and lows, right? We did chop through this zone quite a bit, but I like that. I like that to the downside. Kind of an interesting spot. I'd be interested in a sweep down below this level, right? So if I had to draw a zone that I was interested in entering, like an exact line, probably be down below this level. If we continued lower, let me just come back out to the daily because I was liking the way that was displaying this big consolidation from earlier in the year. Come on, visible range volume profile, catch up, trading view. There we go. Yeah, if we were gonna come way lower, this is not really for. I mean, could be for today. Who knows, right? If we were gonna come way lower, I like this for a really wide zone off the daily here. Right, all the way down below these lows into this high volume node. So I'm gonna leave that up. And yeah, I could mark right off the daily today, guys. This is straight. I'm fine with this. Boom. Again, coming off of high volume nodes almost always, custom tailoring it for some price action market structure. You can see all of the daily highs and lows, key area of interest here on the chart. We're sitting at one right now to the upside. Let's see. Let's hop down to the 1 hour, maybe refine these bad boys a little bit, see what we did. Waiting for volume profile to line up. Yeah, I love this. Fresh chart markup. Start the week. Nothing crazy, right? We don't need any insane indicators or tools for us to mark our dumbass levels on the chart. Excuse my language. YouTube, please don't hurt me. I like discretionary zones, areas of interest, levels, support and resistance, supply and demand, order blocks, whatever silly name you want to give to where the institutional banks are trading, because we're so smart, we know what the smart money's doing, and that's what we trade. No, I'm just kidding around, guys. Simple discretionary areas of interest on the chart. Horizontal levels, I mark mine based on price action market structure, the way that almost everybody does. I also use volume profile, which is extremely similar to price action market structure. It's going to show, you know, where the high volume is traded. There can't be high volume traded if there is no price action there and market structure. So it's kind of like, you know, 6 of one, half a dozen the other. You know, I do it off of higher time frames. I don't like to zoom super duper duper in close unless I'm going to trade off those lower time frames, the way we've been doing on NQ. But I'm not going to focus on NQ just yet this morning. That's an interesting spot. This one's a little bit different, right? We got a really high volume node here. Let's see what happens if I just do that. Yeah, we got a pretty clean high volume node here. It is overlapping with quite a bit of volume profiles coming off session volume profile. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm not surprised. But, you know, if I was going to mark another zone, it would be all the way off the highs, which I will with a line as to where the current all-time high is. Let's get the... Cool. Full chart markup today, guys. You guys got questions? Feel free to ask. You say, hey, Zach, how do you get these magical zones on your chart? How are you finding these days where, you know, we wick right up to the middle of your zone and then we sell off by 600 points? That's been happening. Are you a genius? Do you have this all figured out? The answer to that is no, not at all. Simple discretionary zones, the way that you just saw marked up. That's it. That's the sauce, guys. So now that we got that done, 10 minutes into the open, just taking you full through my, you know, my pre-market process here a little bit for YM. I like to keep it sillily simple. Pretty choppy overnight session, you know, starting to zoom in and take a look at what we're doing like right here, right now. Like, what are we doing into pre-market? What are we doing like into the open here? Kind of choppy, selling off down below VWAP. Doji candle here on the daily, choppy back and forth after we pull back off these highs. I think we could keep doing this a little bit. We don't have a lot of news coming into today at all. In fact, we can pull up the news calendar in a minute, but I could tell you that we don't have a lot of news. We got past some 8:30 a.m. news. Nothing else for the day. I can see us chopping around. If we're going to break lower, where am I looking for a long? Down in here. Again, I know I got a zone here, but it's going to be on a crack of yesterday's low. I think that would give me an interesting way to structure risk. A good way for me to say, hey, I think we're going to bounce here. Or I think we're not going to bounce here. I think we're going to smoke me, right? I think this would be a good place to get long or short. I would probably get long here, right? Nothing really in between this area. To the upside, what would I be looking at? We got this area here. I would be curious to see what happens if we come higher. I'd be looking to short this above pre-market highs, above yesterday's high. Oh, sorry, this is not pre-market high. Yeah, this is going to mess me up today. Above yesterday's high, right in here, 49,850s. I'd be looking short. Let's say 830s. Be looking short. 140s. I'd be looking long. Why? Same reason, right? Oops, excuse me. I think we get rid of that. I think we pop to the upside and sell off right back down to this area of high volume here, or we don't do that. We do this. Pick your poison. Okay, you want to trade the breakout, you want to trade the reversal on YM. Really can't get more straightforward than that, guys. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. If we pop to the upside, I'm going to fade that initial drive higher for a move back down towards VWAP for a potential choppy day. If we just blast off or dump, there's a good chance that I don't buy. When exactly do I hit the buy or sell button, right? I'm utilizing my discretion to determine that. I'm reading price action, market structure, a little bit of order flow here on the left-hand side to decide where exactly I'm going to hit, you know, that buy or sell button. If I wanted to be in here, if we came up to 840 without having to determine anything, I wasn't going to apply my discretion, what would I want to do? Just use a limit order, right? Just go ahead and set a limit order here. Right there, right? And then set your, you know, whatever stop loss and take profit you want, right? That's not how I trade. It's not what I do, right? So I'm going to watch that there, utilize my subjective interpretation of what's going on the chart to decide when the right time is to potentially hit that buy or sell button, exactly how to structure risk, sizing here on minis, or maybe dropping down to micros, and all the little nuances and, of what goes into manual trading. So that's my analysis here on YM, chat. That is my analysis here on YM. Appreciate you guys hopping on. Let's see what we got. Good morning, sir. Holy crap. Wow, typos. Dwayne. Literally, Comic Con was half past the combine. Ran the stops. Dwayne. Mike, what the hell? No need to ask for a giveaway. If it happens, it happens. Yeah, we talked about that. We talked about the giveaway. Coming later today. Random days, random times. If you ask me more than once, you won't win. I have to throw in the towel. Oh, man. What indicator do you use for volume? This is Visible Range Volume Profile. VRVP. Visible Range Volume Profile. If you type this into TradingView, you would find it. Here's my settings. This one has changed. And in inputs, this one has changed to 200. You could go back and pause it if you want. I've got the colors changed up a little bit. And then this one is Session Volume Profile. I think the only thing that I have changed on here, again, is row size being 200. Session Volume Profile giving us exactly what it sounds like, the Session Volume Profile. Visible Range Volume Profile, or Volume Profile Visible Range over here on the right-hand side, giving us also what it sounds like, the visible range of this price action, right? If I scroll out, this is dynamic. This, once it sets, is fixed. You can also use a million different volume profiles. You could also use Fixed Range Volume Profile, which is a drawing tool. You would find that under volume-based, Fixed Range Volume Profile. You can just click that and drag it out for whatever area you want to display a volume profile. Hope that helps. Happy to answer questions. Good question, good question. Thank you so much, of course. That's what we're here for. Provide some value. All the sauce, none of the fluff, right? All right, guys, let's see what we got here, guys and girls, because I know we got some badass female traders in here, and I don't want to always say guys and bro and man, but I do, so I will try to be more inclusive. But if I say guys, I mean guys and girls, and whatever anybody wants to identify as. We are non-discriminatory here on stream at Real Deal Futures. You know why? The market's non-discriminatory, guys. The market does not give a flying F who you are, where you're from, your skin color, your religion, your sexual orientation, what you identify. I don't even know the proper way to say any of these things. It does not care who's clicking the buttons. It genuinely does not care if your cat's walking on your keyboard, or you're in your private mansion with a zillion different, screens. It does not matter. The market does not know who you are, nor does it care. And I think that's a wonderful thing about the markets. The markets are non-discriminatory, okay? There are barriers for entry into trading different markets, right? But as far as being in the game, it don't matter, man. It does not matter. There really is no pay to win as far as, creating a return. There's certainly pay to win on, making small amounts of money on big amounts of money, things like that. But I do like that about the markets. Markets don't care. They don't give a damn. You trading off your cracked iPhone 9 on, some public Wi-Fi, on a micro in a $50 prop account. You trading, in your mansion with 47,000 screens off of, badass Macs and all these, great software that you have running. Guess what, man? We're all up against the same challenge. And when you go to click the buy and sell button, the market's not going to favor one person over another. There's some, until you get to the extreme level where you're moving the market with the amount of size that you're trading, but that's pretty hard to do in the futures market of the U.S. indices. You'd have to be trading extreme size to get that done. Maybe small caps, you can move a market around. Or crypto meme coins. All right. watching this market as I'm yapping here. Watching this market, you know, kind of getting a feel for what we're doing here today. I'm pretty unbiased, guys. I know I did this chart markup. I really didn't talk about this, you know, didn't talk about a bias for today. I'm pretty unbiased coming into today. I'm fine to buy a dip. I'm fine to short this up here. You know, we're in an uptrend on the higher time frames. I prefer longs over shorts. I have a much higher hit rate on longs in the, you know, last 4 or 5 months of data. That should be pretty obvious based on me trading YM during a very strong uptrend, right? Most people would have higher hit rates, you know, in an uptrend long than in a downtrend. If we were selling off, my hit rate would probably be a lot better on shorts. But in general, I'm not going to mind this either way. I don't know that we've ripped today. I mean, we certainly can. There's not a lot of news coming up. You know, I don't know if we want to pop back up here today. I don't know that we want to sell off really aggressively today. You know, I do think we could do either one of those. I'm going to trade for the mean reversion first, you know, off of a key level. Again, I think these, you know, looking at volume profile here as well, looking at price action, you know, these are the danger zones, right? We start to come outside of this. We start to come outside of this, you know, without just testing it. We start to break and close above or below these areas. That's going to look ugly, right? And then if we start to break and close outside of these areas, where do I think we're going? Here or here, right? Just some frame of reference. Again, market could do whatever it wants. Anything could happen at any time for any reason. That's the ACH saying. Anything can happen at any time for any reason, which is really true in the markets. Anybody that tells you otherwise is either trying to sell you something or they're an idiot. No offense. So we are opened up 15 seconds into NYSE Open. Best of luck, everybody. I really don't like to say good luck because luck really doesn't have much to do with trading consistently over time. It comes down to you personally and your execution. Let's see what we can, but I wish you all positive variance this week. I wish you all to have an outsized number of wins over losses. Let's see what we can do. Driving higher off of this open. Just taking a look to see if we got any crazy liquidity coming after this this 3-day weekend. We could see some volatility today, man. We could see some movement out of these markets. Oof, man, gonna set me up for the short early, huh? Taking a look at this as we come into this zone. I did say I wanted it potentially above Monday and Friday's high. We're getting pretty close here, guys. I'm going to start measuring this out. Not doing anything just yet, but I am getting my measurement tool out to see what we would be looking like on a short limit bid plus a couple. We might just test right up here and drop. It's a little bit too aggressive for me. We didn't sweep this high. Maybe we don't come outside of this area, but I'd like to see liquidity getting taken out up here if I was going to jump into something like this. All the way back down around VWAP. That feels like it. Yep, that felt like it. Let's see. I just wanted the sweep of these highs, man. Wanted the sweep of Monday and potentially Friday. We got really close to both of these. I feel like I'm front running it, diving in. 2 minutes into the open, 30 points away from where I want price. I really feel like I was front running that one if I jumped in early. Pretty aggressive selling pressure. You know, immediate 150 point bounce. Waiting and seeing. We didn't go all the way back to VWAP. We didn't come all the way back down here yet. So I do still like this. If we sell all the way back down to like the 500s, I'm not going to like this anymore. I'm just going to get rid of this for a second. And this so we can watch the full chart. Yeah, man, I'm going to have to start front running these levels. I'm really gonna have to start front running my own stuff. Not front running the levels, but just being more aggressive, even more aggressive. I think that might be coming up for me here on YM. So I run such a damn wide stop to begin with that if I'm gonna catch some of these really quick movements, like I caught on Friday, this was beautiful, dude. I almost bottom ticked it, rode it right back to VWAP, quick $1,000 in the Top 1 Futures live account, and it looks like that's what this is gonna potentially give me here, or would have potentially given me here. Just not aggressive enough, man. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get more aggressive. I've watched this now too many times, and I've had a couple notes in my journal about just getting involved even earlier than sweeps of highs and lows, just, you know, into the area of high volume itself. Because there's my $1,000 off the open. That's my opportunity right there. Even if I didn't get close to top ticking that thing. Well, let's see where we go from here, chat. If only I was good enough to trade my own analysis. Let's see where we go from here. Let's see where we go from here. Aggressive selling pressure off that high. Just checking some book map levels across all these bad boys. Checking CVD. NQ pushing, ES pushing, YM pushed to the upside and sold off really aggressively. Yeah, at this point, I think we could retest, which we're doing right now. Retest VWAP. There's my 100 points. I mean, excuse me, there's my 200 points. Yep. 220 off the high, 225-ish off the high. Over to NQ quickly today, guys. We're going to be over to scalping NQ real quickly. I think there's a chance that we bounce here. I think there's a chance that we drive higher. If I had to take a trade right now, gun to my head, it would be long. I got a feeling I'm going to be reading the market really well on YM and not pulling the trigger. If I had to take a trade, that's what it would be. One of those, actually. Now at this point. If I had to take one, that's what I'd be looking at. I'm not going to run that. Not going to run a continuation trade this early in the session. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. YM living in its own world. As always. Yes, it does. YM lives in its own world. I don't trade it in correlation with the others. YM generally lives in its own world. Morning, everyone. What's up? Jamie, what's going on? Use the YM indicator. Short the NQ. There you go. 12:45 fret bar speech. Nice. Thank you, Digital Dukes. Excuse me. Always the way. How to read the profile. We could talk about that. One algo to rule them all. There he is. Wolf, what's up? Pam, good morning. When's the giveaway? Yeah, there's the troll comments right there. What's up, all you good people? What's going on, guys? What's going on? Happy to be back after a holiday there, man. So, got the movement I wanted out of the market, but I am faced now. Here's the process, right? Like this is the really good stuff. I'm faced now to start reviewing some of this, guys, and I'm gonna try to, you know, articulate it now, right? This is the movement that I try to capitalize on YM. Right, this is the movement that I try to capitalize on. Beautiful, beautiful capitalization here on Friday. Really nice. Could have held it a little bit longer, but I'm happy with $1,000 in, like, you know, 60 seconds. This was yesterday on Friday. Today, marked out some zones above and below price. I did say that I wanted I said 830s, right? 830s, 840s, a sweep of Monday and Friday's high. I said if we came lower, I want to sweep down here of these lows, right? So what I'm finding is what happened today. I got a pretty good read. I mark out. I got a pretty good movement that I'm looking to exploit. I wait patiently for that. I get close, right? And I'm roughly, you know, I'm not fixed on take profit and stop loss, right? But I'm roughly, you know, if I had to say what's the closest, around a 200 point stop loss take profit if I'm going to trade 1 minute here on YM, you know, in current volatility. I got to ask myself, should I start getting more aggressive? Should I start trying to get more aggressive? Should I start front running some of these highs to try to capture that movement a little bit more aggressively? You know, will I be frustrated if we do this? And had I waited for my initial level to get hit, like the 30s, the 40s, I would have made it, right? I would have been clear. You know, where is my real invalidation point on this? You know, where is my real invalidation point? Well, you know, it's up above these highs, but by how much? It's up above these highs, but below this zone, right? I can't run it on the other side of this zone, right? It's up here for a rejection around this area, but as we know, YM is so damn whippy and wicky sometimes. I like to leave quite a bit of room, right? Is that an invalidation point? Yeah. Yeah, it's not bad. But when I review, I do see a lot of these movements in the market, and I have to ask myself at a certain point, you know, when would you like to start to get more aggressive to try to capture some of these? Knowing that you will have some of these movements, right? You will have some of these movements where if you had waited, maybe for a movement up here, you might have been able to capture that. Are you comfortable realizing some of those losses on the way to more profit if you're finding that one thing is happening slightly more often than another? That's the, you know, that's the game of inches that we play here with trading. And they're very fine tuning, right? Very fine tuning of our actual entries and exits. For me, I do think, first off, it's all discretionary, right? So day in and day out, it's going to be slightly different. But I do think for me, I'm going to get a little bit more aggressive on YM off the open. I don't have a particularly high win rate on YM in the first 15 minutes. I will also note that. I don't have an abysmal win rate, but it's not the highest time frame for me to trade, highest win rate time frame. But I do see a lot of these movements happen, and I got a good feeling that I could capitalize on more of them. And I think I'd like to get myself involved a little bit quicker, risk the really aggressive stop out where this thing just doesn't, you know, just goes up here, that I might have taken anyway had I waited and gotten the fill higher, right? So that's kind of the process, right, of journaling. Hey, what's working? What's not working? Do a little bit more of what's working. Do a little bit more, a little bit less of what's not working, right? What would be working? A little bit more aggressive entry. What's not working? Waiting, you know, for a sweep of highs that we might not be doing all of the time. Still running a pretty wide stop. Still trying to find an invalidation point where I say I'm dead wrong on this trade. I want to be out and try to capture that quick movement back down or back up, right? But notes right off the open here. You know, again, I did say, you know, if I had to take another trade, what would my trade be? Long, right off of VWAP, right? Long right in here. If you said, you know, as we were down here at VWAP, right? If I had to take another trade, what would it be? That one. Now, I don't have a setup coming, so we're going to get ready to go scalp like psychopaths on NQ. We're going to get ready for that. I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna grab another one of these drinks. I will be right back. Not going anywhere. Probably gonna hop over to NQ after this, so sit tight. We'll have some fun scalping. Be right back, guys. Let me mute myself first. What in the hell? What in the helly? Sorry, guys. Wow, I'm really tripping out. There we go. Back in action with you guys. Back in action with you guys. Let's see. Chat. Let's see what we had going on. Let's get it. ADL King, what's up? Good morning, bro. How we doing, man? How we doing? Came in just short of that Friday high. Yep. Yeah, that's what we were talking about, Pam. Yep. Okay, buying so much puts should technically be tanking the market. So hard. This is where discretion you mentioned comes in, and study the data. Yep. That's the sauce. This is where the discretion comes in, right? And even with discretion, right? You're not gonna hit it every day, right? I'm not gonna hit it perfectly every day, and that's not the goal. That's why I run a wide stop loss. I really don't try to hit it perfectly every day and have a really high risk to reward. But even then, you're not gonna catch it every day beautifully. What's working can change from month to month. I'm guessing no. Yes. So this is a good question. Scalp like a psychopath. Hit price target 3 seconds. Top of future ignite. Reminder your scalp's got to be over 10 seconds. Yes, they do have to be over 10 seconds. I'm going to come back to that. Things can change. Interesting VWAP starts on Sunday. 8, not on Monday, even though half day. Yeah, it's a little jacked up today for sure with the half day close. Definitely a little jacked up. TradingView never works on a holiday plan. Best to anchor it. Yep. That's a fair one. That's definitely a fair one. You can anchor, a volume profile to the start of the news session on Tuesday. Today. I'm not gonna mess with it. But before I hop over, I'm still watching YM, just see if we get anything else out of this. Before we hop over to NQ, scalp like psychopaths. Not that you can't make money scalping with a high frequency on the low time frames, but I'll talk about scalping on Tradevate also. Maybe I'll load up a Tradevate chart and scalp a little bit with you guys, because I actually do find it to be a little bit cleaner than TradingView. But here's the comment I wanted to make, right? Pam asked, what's working? What was the actual question? Let me read it again. What's working, in quotes, can change from month to month. I'm guessing no. Yes, it can, right? The market's dynamic. It's not this constant animal that stays doing the exact same thing. Volatility changes, political regime changes, geopolitics affects the market so heavily, different things going across different sectors that are, affecting the instrument that we're trading, be it like, any of the US indices or even the metals or anything else. So, these things will continue to cause these differences day in and day out, week in, month in. Overall, the goal is to try to identify something from a technical standpoint, right, that allows you to create an edge over time consistently while you adjust to that ever-changing market. What I find is most traders are changing far too much. They understand the market changes, but they're changing far too much. They have a recency bias, as we all do as humans, and they are accounting for what's happening yesterday or what's happening this week or just this month. And they're over-optimizing and over-correcting to try to make it perfect for what happened yesterday, rather than recognize that the market is incredibly random on the short term. It really is. Things seem to repeat themselves with a very high degree of probability and percent of time that it happens. You could look at reports from Edgeful, which we'll talk about in a little bit, that display that over and over and over again. These patterns repeat themselves, right, from a price and time standpoint. But on the short term, the market is very random, and we can very quickly get caught in these trying to over-optimize for what's happening on the short term. So there's a balance there. There's a balance and a fine line that has to be towed as a trader to say what works. How do I back test, forward test, spend hours and hours and hours and hours on the charts and years of time creating an understanding of the markets the way that you personally read them, right? Deciding which tools you want to use and creating some, fundamentals around that, which is what I like to do. Keep it extremely simple if you can, and find a good way to structure risk. And then continually fine-tune that. Continually fine-tune that, both in yourself and your execution, and within what's going on in the markets itself, right? We go through drastically different periods of the markets. We will chop and consolidate day over day, week over week, month over month for what seems like forever. We will trend in one direction, when the market starts to run for what seems like forever, right? Take a look at what happened on silver. I'm sure if you were trading silver, a year ago, your strategy probably didn't work too well over the last couple of months, right? These things do drastically change. So, there's a fine line of balance that we have to try to find for adapting for the ever-changing market conditions, the dynamic conditions that we're in, applying this context that we continually can identify in the markets. Not just trend, right? But, Trump market's very different than what was going on before. Tariffs talk, conflict, natural disasters that come in, trading around specific times of the year, right? Trading around holidays, trading around rollover, trading around big financial news events, while also not over-optimizing, while not constantly strategy hopping and changing the tools that we're using, or just changing for the market conditions and saying, oh, well, we consolidated yesterday and we consolidated today, so now I'm just going to be a range trader. Or, well, we sold off so aggressively yesterday, and if I just shorted right off the open, I would have made so much money, so today I'm just going to short right off the open right here, and then what would have happened? You would have gotten absolutely smoked, right? So it's important, I think, to try to find consistency in what you do. And I think, if I had to, I try to talk in ways of things that I used to do for a long time. I would constantly change what I was doing, and I think most traders do that. And if they just stuck to one damn thing for long enough, they would know if they had an edge or not. They could start to try to create one, but they're constantly trying to chase their own tail, and you get stuck in this just constantly chasing your own tail. So balance, there's a balance there. And again, when I talk about making changes, when I talk about reviewing things that are happening, I'm talking about small stuff. Very small adaptations. I'm not talking about changing the tools that I'm using or what I'm doing really from any core, respect. Like what I'm doing on NQ, I talk about in detail because it's really crafting an entire, new, not really a new approach, but a new edge really on a different market, different time frame, different frequency of trades, fixed take profit stuff. It's very different. But when I talk about like starting to make some changes on YM, it's really not different. Small changes. Anyway, hope that helps. As I'm watching this market sell off, game of inches, didn't get it today. 300 points to the downside. Frustrating. Be lying if I said that wasn't frustrating to watch because I've watched it a handful of times. But articulating how I'd like to try to capitalize on that. And the double-edged sword of getting more aggressive and entering before a sweep of a high or a low. Awesome answer, thanks. Absolutely. Absolutely. YM long chickened out and got out at 49, 675 for a smaller win. Had planned to hold to 49, 780. Still can't seem to find the break-even habit of jumping. Yeah. New profit on a combine. I feel better now. 1,500. Nice. Get on a VWAP for continuation. I got it covered for you. Nice, nice. Yeah, it's a fine line, Pam. It's a fine line, right? That trade management. Now we're into talking about trade management. You see the way that I manage trades to a degree, pretty discretionary. I don't think there's any one perfect answer. I think as a beginner, you do want to be a little bit more consistent with trade management because it's one of the hardest things to really start to wrap your head around. And I find so many traders can't. Oh my gosh, NQ, man, same movement. Yeah, I'm gonna get ready to scalp on this. I find that many traders suck at trade management. I think it's one of the hardest parts of trading. What do you do after you put the trade on? And most traders would probably be better off not touching the trade after it was on and just running a fixed take profit and fixed stop loss. That's what I believe about trade management. All right, guys, let me go ahead and let me throw this up for now. If you want to check out Top 1 Futures, go ahead and hit the link pinned to the top of the chat. 60% off. I was saying only 50%. 60% off still running for your first or next account. Really an insane opportunity with those guys if you want to check it out. It's the account that I just came off of right there. My Top 1 Futures live account. But I'm going to get logged out and pull up a sim account here. Let's go ahead and log out of Tradeovate. And then log in again. Doing it off screen so you guys don't get my password here. Can we get a sim funded account lined up? Maybe like a pro account or something? Yeah, we got a handful of fundeds. All right, hang on one second, guys. I get logged in. Yeah, if you don't know, I'm juggling 47 sim accounts. Talk to you guys about the multiple reasons that I'm looking to go on a generational run in prop firms, as the kids say. Milk the prop firms. That's just all the stupid stuff the stupid slang that everybody says. All right, what do we got here? We got I can't even tell which is which. One of these isn't. That'll take too long here. Yeah, all right. Let's start. Let's start in. I think this is a fresh eval. Let's start in an eval. Start in an eval. I always like to let you guys know what I'm trading. Of course, now that we're on Tradeovate and TradingView, you can't really. You can still see P&Ls and price running, but you can play a lot more games on this, BS. All right. Let's get ready to get scalpy on NQ. Sell it off pretty aggressively here. Jeez, man. Just looking at YM one more time. Yeah, still continuing lower. This was the move I wanted, back to VWAP. We're past that. I'm not going to long this on the way back up. I'm not going to short from here. The long wouldn't have played. I didn't take that because it was just too early to be taking some kind of continuation trade, at least for me. So we're going to come over to NQ. If you want to learn more about what the hell I'm doing here on NQ on the 1 minute chart, hop in the Discord. Link is pinned to the top of the chat. You can go ahead and hop. Let's go to MNQ because this is going to be stupid tight. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little too aggressive. Let's go to MNQ. Yeah, hop in the Discord if you are like, why the hell is Zach trading on NQ and MNQ in other sim accounts? What is he doing? What's wrong with this guy? Feel free to hop in Discord and check out the messages I've got in there. So all I'm doing with these white lines here, I'm not going to mark out huge zones here. I know where we're at. We're coming down, right? We're selling off pretty aggressively. Only thing I'm going to mark off with a couple lines is just extending. There's probably a setting on session volume profile, but I don't care to turn it on. I'm just extending the clone this real quick. Value area high, value area low, and volume point of control out to the right. I'm using a horizontal line, right, to come right over, as you can see, value area low, right here. This is change in real time. You can do it for prior day if you wanted also over here on Friday, but I'm not going to do that. I like that. I like this as we're forming. Just gives me, like, again, not so much like value area high, value area low, volume point of control, or some super predictive, crazy best ways to trade. Just gives me some reference, right? I'm so damn zoomed in here. I pull up the order card. Like, I can't see anything. I'm looking at, like, an hour of data. So at very least, I'm like, okay, here's current session low. I could see that because the shaded area of a volume profile, right? Here's our daily high, current session high. If I also mark out, volume point of control, value area high, value area low, it gives me a little bit of reference, like where the hell are we, for the day so far. So that can be helpful. That can be helpful. So So. Let's get ready to get scalpy here, guys. Let's get ready to get scalpy. I'm talking about what I'm doing, of course, as far as the individual trades themselves. Very aggressive, very quick stop outs to take profits. You got to be careful if you have a minimum hold time rule, which majority of prop firms do. 5 seconds, 10 seconds. If you're going to scalp like this, maybe you don't put a fixed take profit in. But so far, we're breaking lower here. Let me start to get comfortable with what I want to do for sizing here. Again, not doing anything just yet. Getting a feel for what this looks like for volatility for the day. We're moving. We got a 38 on the ATR, the 1 minute ATR here on NQ. Getting a feel for volatility, getting a feel for what NQ's Bookmap's looking like. I do rely heavily on Bookmap. This is definitely a much more Bookmap focused approach where I'm watching these really small levels of liquidity, at least what I would say relatively small, right? I'm pretty zoomed in here. I'm looking, at price action, market structure, trend, volume profile, right? And I'm looking to scalp in between this, tight price action. Really specifically being aware of what's going on the Bookmap chart, right? The DOM, depth of market, where orders are coming on and off the book as we're approaching those, what happens when we get there. For the most part, fading little pops to the upside as we clear liquidity for quick movement to the downside and vice versa. Fading quick movements to the downside for little aggressive reversions. Like here was an opportunity potentially, right? If I was waiting for that 24,505s to fill for a potential quick short to the downside. But this looked pretty aggressive right as we wicked lower and then popped right back up. So I think we got an opportunity to come higher on this one, which is why I'm not taking something like that just yet. But I could see a potential short coming in pretty quick if we pop a little bit higher on this bad boy. Start testing some trades. Still playing around with TradingView. Still playing around with TradingView. I don't know that I like this. I was doing this the other day. This bid plus or minus, a little bit of an offset. I don't know that I love it. I think I'll miss some trades, and I'm better off just getting a worse fill, being a little bit. Try to be quicker to the draw, watch Bookmap, and execute. And what I really want to do today with this, as you guys know, we're coming off of Project X. Probably almost everybody's coming off of Project X at this point. Onto Tradeovate, NinjaTrader, TradingView. I like TradingView to trade on. I don't mind it for YM at all. I'm trying to get a feel for what it looks like zoomed in here on NQ. And what I decided I wanted to try a little bit more of today. I've been talking a lot about this. The fills, the entries, it lags, the candles printing. I want to watch Bookmap, right? And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to train my eyes on Bookmap. I'm going to just have this set. And I'm going to be entering as I'm watching Bookmap come into a specific price point, right? Because I find that Bookmap is very fast. It's real-time data. It's pretty damn accurate. And I want to watch what happens as I click the buy or sell button relative to Bookmap and what fill I actually get. Rather than watching this candle print, which we know is delayed by ever so slight amount, and then clicking the buy or sell button, watching this market get, dragged around, as you could see, lagging above and below price, and then try to determine whether or not I got a good fill, right? So, it's kind of just my overview of something I want to look at today. Did get some scalping in on, there we go, nice pop to the upside, right towards those 575s where we got a little bit of liquidity. We're going to come right through this level here, right through this value area low, all the way up to volume point of control, temporary volume point of control. VWAP, or are we going to sell right back off quickly? I was tempted on the short right there. Wait for a little bit more of a pop higher and then fade this thing for a quick little shorty if we get it. But yeah, got quite a bit of trading done right off of Tradovate. Yesterday, Friday, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I don't like the chart, of course. Like, I'm not using the chart. But if I'm gonna scalp really aggressively using Bookmap, it's not so bad. It's really not so bad. So we might load up Tradovate here in a little bit and see what that looks like. New current volume point of control right down here. You're gonna come up here first, or you're gonna come right back down here? I was waiting for us to come right up here first. Let's see, let's see, let's see, let's see. No, we want to sell right back off first. Yeah. Let's see. Getting a feel for this one. Scalping, I got to be a little bit more locked in, guys. I'm going to struggle to read the chat at the same time as doing this until I say, all right, I'm not going to look for a trade for a minute. This was kind of the movement that I was looking for. Actually, exactly the movement that I was looking for. Let's watch this. Let's watch this. See if we come down through the lows where we pop right back up to the upside. What's up? What's up, Juan? What's happening? Yes, y'all short the NQ. See? Beautiful flush. Got me 202 on the XFAs of the micro. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Awesome. Awesome. You guys are making some money. Love to see it. While we are hanging out here, like I said, guys, we're not running a giveaway just yet. Nobody freak out. What's up, Kobe? What's up, guys on Kick? Guys and girls on Kick. We're not running a giveaway just yet, but if you want to be part of today's giveaway, and I'm assuming almost everybody does, part of the deal is you will have to be following on Instagram. It's going to be a simple form, but you will have to be following on Instagram. Sometimes I add things, sometimes I take things away, sometimes we do different fun stuff. It's going to be a form. We're going to run duck races. It's still free $99, no purchase necessary. But today, you will have to be following on IG. We're going to speed run my IG to the moon, guys. That's what we got going on today. So there's the link. If you want to get in ahead of time, you're going to have that done. If you win. All right. All right. Now I'm starting to get a little bit of a feel for this one. Choppy down here, man. Choppy, choppy, choppy. Either we break lower here, come through the low, or this is a good spot for a quick buy to pop right back up near these highs. I'm interested on testing it. All right, let me play with this one. We're looking at Bookmap here, trading 517s, 18s, 19s, 20s, right around that level. Got a little bit of a range setting up here. Choppy down here around the lows after this break to the downside. Pop to the upside, break to the downside, pull back up. Starting to consolidate a little bit down here off the low. Let's see, do we want to pop back up, take out some liquidity? That's kind of what I think. I don't mind trading off the lows of this for a little pop back up. Playing around with Bookmap here. See if we don't have to take $500s. We got a little bit all the way down. We got really nothing below that. Let's see, watching Bookmap. I do want to get some test trades in on this one, guys, like I said. Alright, that was an interesting fill. So I was watching Bookmap on that one before I cracked the buy button. That didn't look too bad. That didn't look too bad, honestly. You know, from what by the time that I hit the button, watching Bookmap to where that actually filled on TradingView. That didn't look too bad. That didn't look too bad. I'm gonna have to pull a couple of these. To test out, but we cleared the 500s. I'm looking for a quick wick back up. Could just be breaking continuation the downside, which it looks like it wants to do. No bounce right there off the 500s, at least not yet. That's what I wanted to see as we came down lower. For a quick pull back up to this area of consolidation right in here. Playing off of some of this choppy consolidation down here around these lows. Stop loss just so happened to be right at the low on this one. Real close to a take profit. Gonna go stop loss to break even plus a tick right now. Super duper close. Couple points there. I'm stop loss to break even plus, what, a point? I don't need to be that far off of stop loss to break even. That's more appropriate. Nope, not getting that continuation just yet, but back up to this choppy area consolidation. Let's see, stopped out from break even. Let's see what we get. I'm gonna take a handful of these guys. I do want to get some good scalping trades in and see if we can't turn some profit. But I want to do what I'm doing here, which is watching Bookmap, executing on TradingView, and kind of seeing where that fill comes in, right? Like what price level am I hitting the button at? And where does that entry actually go? Like, what does that fill look like? Because, again, it doesn't matter as much on YM, but it still does matter. YM can move, you know, very, very quick in the matter of a blink of an eye. And, you know, I want to be hitting the button when I need to be hitting the button. I really don't want to operate with knowing that I have a lag somewhere. You know, that's just not a great way to trade. We pay all this money for fast software and hardware, and then to know that you're executing with a delay is like just like a slap in the face. So I'm gonna play with this a bit, guys. I'm gonna play with this a bit. You know, again, I'm intentionally taking trades in the live market on a sim account, right? On a prop firm account. You know, there's risk to doing that, but I want to be really, really confident in the tools that I use, and I really won't have that unless I hammer it home for myself. Let's see where we go from here. Let's see where we go from here. Waiting for the next setup. That's not a bad. I don't think that's a bad take profit stop loss to start to operate in around this 36 ATR on the 1 minute. Probably can get a little bit tighter for what I'm trying to do here. This is interesting. Do we dump right here as we start to consolidate, form this little wedge? I'm expecting some volatility as we start to consolidate tighter and tighter and tighter, either aggressively to the downside or aggressively to the upside. We come lower. I'm curious all the way down to the 450s. You know, what happens at this level of liquidity right here. In between that, we've got these little jumps, but I'm not looking to take anything right here right now. I think we get a little bit of a crack out of NQ coming up. Hey Zach, how to go about finding the form on your IG? The form is not on my IG. Form's not on my IG. The form will be here across all the lives and in Discord. You will need to be following me on IG in order to win. That was just a requirement that I threw in there today. So I wanted to give you guys the early opportunity to follow on IG. There's the crack to the upside. Would have been a take profit. I'm happy with a quick stop loss to break even as we get really close to a take profit on these quick scalpy trades. Good read of price getting tighter and tighter and tighter and contracting, and then expecting that pop to happen at a certain point in one direction or the other. I think it'd be helpful just to be aware of that stuff, right? As price, you know, how do we start to anticipate that? Is that magic? No, man. You watch the market for long enough, you start to notice, hey, when we do this and we contract, we get tighter, 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 tighter. What do we often do? Now, we don't do that forever. We go bang, or we go bang really aggressively. Maybe we do that, right? Maybe we do both. You know, when we're selling off really aggressively. Do we do this forever? No. What do? Start to slow down, right? The trend starts to die out. We break a high, we break a low. Maybe we start to reverse, right? You start to notice these patterns in price action, market structure. But there's a wedge pattern, right? That people talk about. I'm not a chart pattern guy, but I'm just displaying what I was talking about. As I said, hey, I think we get a crack out of NQ coming up soon. We're starting to consolidate tighter and tighter and tighter. And then boom, what do we get? You know, a larger candle than all of the previous candles for the last, 30 minutes. Maybe 15 minutes. Oh, I wish there wasn't such an overreaction about Project X. Trade management was so easy on the platform. Now there's so many extra steps to manage scale, etc. So there's not, in my humble opinion, well, first two things. Marcy, someone said, how do you find the form on Instagram? Okay, hang on one second, because I'm going to put this in chat. I'm guessing you guys don't have volume on. Okay, giveaway. Hang on one second, guys. There we go. Just in case you guys aren't listening. You guys aren't now listening in. So Jordan, here's my 2 cents on that, right? I remember I'm biased. I stand to make money from some and not others. Can't be unbiased, right? As we're watching this market start to drive higher, I don't really love a big push in one direction to try to scalp this. Momentum-wise, for sure, right? Buying into strength, selling into weakness, but I'm just gonna hang out and answer that, that comment. Here's my thoughts. First off, whether or not there was an overreaction or an underreaction, it wasn't at the prop firm's choice to get rid of Project X. So maybe you're not aware of that or others aren't aware of that. Project X pulled access from all of the prop firms as they were having all the issues. The prop firms didn't say, we don't want Project X anymore. Project X said, nobody can have Project X except for Top Step. So that's number one, right? It's not at the prop firm's hands to get rid of the platform, right? It's at Project X's hands to pull access to the platform. And then second piece, I would call the reaction from most not an overreaction. I mean, it's easier to say that, now as kind of issues have calmed down and everything, but into the end of last year and the beginning of this year, Project X quite literally melted down, right? And I say this as someone who really enjoyed trading on Project X, but there were outages for multiple days. There was an outage every single week for like 7 weeks in a row. That is just completely out of the realm of what would be acceptable for a trading platform for anybody who is going to be halfway serious about trading. Major outages, major issues during the main time of trading, price printing incorrectly, delays on ordering, clawbacks at profit across firms, people not being handled normally, prop firms not acknowledging that there was an issue on Project X. Like, that type of stuff is just a recipe for disaster. And I absolutely say there's a limit to that, right? There's a reasonable amount of issues. Every platform is going to have an issue. Tradeovate's going to have an issue. TradingView is going to have an issue. Ninja, at some point, right? Throughout the year, they're going to have issues. But there's a limit, right? Like Project X had issues, and I would go, okay, yeah, it's an issue, right? It's a platform. It's going to happen, and then we'd go on about our day. But then once it got too repetitive, like multiple days in a row, we're down for the entire trading day where you cannot trade at all, and then multiple weeks in a row, back to back to back. It was like, for a while, I was like, all right, everybody chill out. Like, I think this is going to be okay. And then at a certain point, you go, oh no, there's a huge problem, and they would fix it if they could, but they can't fix it. So, at that point, I would say it's a valid reaction to say, this is unusable. It's completely unreliable. I have to expect that I'm going to get burned on this trading platform. So, why would I use it, right? That type of a deal. But that's up to everybody to form that opinion for themselves, right? But it's important to note, like, whether or not everybody thought that or not, Project X said, everybody's done. We're pulling it off, just Top Step. All other firms are going to be offloaded. And they did that right as those issues were happening. So, that's the underlying info. But yeah, I would be in the camp to say that, I think if you're on Project X, and I still have some accounts on Project X, if you're on Project X, expecting issues is reasonable at this point. When all that stuff was happening, I was like, dude, this looks really bad. I'd completely pull everything off of there and be really cautious putting more risk on. But you guys decide that stuff for yourself. So, but yeah, nuances to every platform, right? Things that are better and worse on Project X, things that are better and worse on TradingView, on Tradeovate, on all of these different platforms, you're going to have to deal with trade-offs. For the most part, yeah, Project X, I think, could have been something great, and maybe it will in the future. But as it stands, coming into the end of last year and beginning of this year, not ready at all. Did not stand the test of time. Major issues, repetitive, unusable. Really, issues that made it completely unusable from any reasonable sense. And again, it's preference, guys. Remember that, like, I say that, and that's just a preference, right? It depends on what you've been born and raised trading on, right? Many traders, just so you guys know, many traders, in fact, most professional traders, they're not on TradingView or Project X, right? They prefer other trading platforms because that's what they know. That's what they've been on for years, right? Many people will prefer Tradeovate or NinjaTrader or another platform, right? Sierra Charts or MotiveWave or, something else. comes down to preference, right? A lot of traders have been born and raised on Project X. Now it gets taken away. You come over to another platform and you go, oh, this platform sucks because it's not what I like, right? It's not what I know. You know, it's in the eyes of the beholder. So anyway, that's my comments on that. It's a good comment though. I don't you know, I don't not throwing any shade at you, man. We're all here to have our own opinions. Watching this thing come back down again after testing current volume point of control. We're kind of chopping around here, man. Just adjusting where I have value area high, value area low on this current volume profile as it prints. Yeah, also, while we're hanging out, I'm sure if you're delayed, you're going to see this at, you know, a couple minutes into the future. Make sure you go down to the bottom of the screen if you're on YouTube and click the live button. Make sure you're actually watching me here live on YouTube. I had a lot of people tell me there's a delay, I'm not live, I didn't catch the form. Make sure that you're actually watching me live. I think that's important to note. Yeah, coming lower. I don't know if I want to step in front of this one. This is a setup right here. It's just aggressively counter. We kind of came through all of the liquidity right here. This was why I threw that buy on here. Get ready for that. I don't know that I want to run something like this just yet. That's a little bit aggressive. I do want to get some trading in. We're going to get some scalping in. Just kind of want to frame that out for you guys right off of this area of high volume for a quick crack right back up. Something like this. We could start to dump here. We could sell off. We could come down and sweep these lows. Third time, we're kind of pulling back down. I like this for a quick bounce right back up towards this value area low before we sell off. But I don't think that I'm going to jump in front of this one right now. I'll frame it out. Yeah, you know what? Anything I'm going to frame, I'm going to take. So we're in the sim accounts. This is very low risk. I'm going to take some aggressive trades here. Just gonna wait to see if we're gonna chop here, if we're gonna pop here, or we're gonna really start to dump. Nah, I like this to sell off. Looks like buyers don't want to take it higher. 58s. Let's see. Wasn't quick enough. Wasn't quick enough on that one. Not quick enough. Not quick enough. Not quick enough. Not quick enough. Let's see. Looking at us chop around this area of high volume, this consolidation above the lows. I could see a quick clean out down here flowing with the trend so far. Maybe we just go right back to VWAP. We take off from this area. I think it'd be unlikely for us not to at least dump one more time. I wanted this like aggressively closer to this value area low level on this candle as we came higher. I might still take it. There's really not a bunch of liquidity that I would be looking to trade off of up there as we start to consolidate here a little bit tighter. I'm gonna take this one. I'm gonna take this one for this little dump. I don't know if we get it. We could pop right back up to this value area low level. I'm gonna try this one for a quick short to the downside here. Chatty McChat coming out of this area of high volume. for a quick move down. Nice. We're starting to get that. I'd like to see that continue. Not going to go stop loss to break even just yet. That's not enough. Would like to see it get closer to... We got the 500s. We got some liquidity. Let's see. Not a bad fill. Watching Bookmap over here as we started to consolidate there. Not a bad fill. Clicking the sell button on this one. Nah, we're getting buyers here. Not dumping just yet. Could just be one more retest before a quick little dip down. Don't need a break of the lows to catch a nice little W on this one. This is not too tight. I'm a little bit more zoomed out than I have been relative to this this ATR here. 200 tick take profit, 200 tick stop loss. That's not super duper scalpy. These are not going to play out in a super duper short amount of time. Let's see if we can get through these 500s right here, and then maybe we'll go stop loss to break even. No, we're going to hold it as support. Let's get the break. Let's get the breakthrough. There we go. I'm holding for a move down below this. That's a dicey play. I'm going to hang on to see. We flipped a little bit. Push lower. Nice. Take profit for 500 bucks on that one. So I'm stopped to break even for one. That would have been a win had I not gone stop loss to break even. And we got a W here. Scalping with a 1-to-1 risk to reward. Not really tight. This is a little bit wider than what I've been doing. That's like super aggressive. This market's not doing anything though, so I don't mind playing off of these high volume areas and using a little bit of order flow to get that done. Again, kind of anticipating what we just saw, right? Like same thing as over here where we start to form this, tighter and tighter and tighter, wedge looking pattern right here in price action. What do I think's likely to happen? We're going to break in one direction, right? We typically don't consolidate for forever and put little inside bars in. We started to get that right here, right at this area of high volume after pushing to the upside, testing current volume point of control and selling back off. I think even if we were going to continue higher, we were going to come down here, test these lows one more time. If we're going to sell off and follow this trend of the day, which way do I think we're going to go? To the downside. This was a really nice sweep to the upside before a continuation lower. Kind of what I was trying to shoot for here on the longs first. I was tempted on a long up here first for this little pop. We kind of got that. I would have loved an entry up here. Would have presented an even better risk structure. But took it from right in here. So no scalpy trades. Nothing too crazy. I'm going to try to get a couple more on with you guys so I can continue to test this execution here on TradingView. Test this execution on TradingView. I've been changing my time frame lately. Wait was too zoomed in on the 1 minute. Now I only look at the 1 minute chart in the first 10 minutes of the session. After that, I changed to the 3 to 5 minute. Nice. Some use the 2 to 3 minute less noise than the 1 minute. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. For me, guys, for the most part, I'm on the 15. For the most part, I'm on YM on the 15. And I start on the much, much, much higher time frames. When I'm scalping really aggressively here on... Ooh, that was a nice... so here, let's map that. Let's see what happens off the 450s, just out of curiosity, right? Like, I'm not in anything here, but I'm wondering what a little scalpy style trade right here with like 150 tick stop loss take profit would look like. Right off the 150s. Aggressively, it's also at the low, so I'm curious to see what that would look like. Right? Why? That was our last bit of liquidity. We came lower, right? Using Bookmap. Does this hold? Do we trade below it really aggressively? Do we get a quick crack back up even before we continue lower? Right? Not something that I'm going to take. I'm not going to fade the breakout. Like, you know, I'm just not that aggressive with it. But yeah, time frame comes down to preference. Comes down to preference. How zoomed in do you want to be? You know, what are you trading for, right? What does your entry and exits look like? For me, the 1 minute on NQ is very fast, very noisy, but it presents the movement and it articulates the movement well that I'm trying to capitalize on, which again is different than what I do on NQ on YM. It's very aggressive. I don't think it's great for beginners. It's high risk. It's better suited for prop accounts, lower risk to reward or negative risk to reward, you know, all of that fun stuff. But I would like to get comfortable trading some of these bad boys. There it is. Nice quick pop to the upside off the 450s. Didn't take that, obviously. I'm trading right from the chart is in front of you. But mapping out what I'm seeing, even if I'm not going to take it, right? I think that could be helpful to do. If you're watching the market, load up a demo account, throw a position tool on the chart. You don't have to put, you know, risk on every 5 seconds, but you can train your eyes and keep yourself entertained and, you know, put a little bit of skin in the game like I am with you guys to say, well, here's what if I had to take a trade right here, here's what I'm shooting for. Right, you know, right off the 450s, right? Yes, it's right below this low here, so nice round psychological number, but that's why I liked it. Boom. Last bit of liquidity right there for a quick bounce to the upside. Bookmap, guys. If you want to check out Bookmap, which I'm using over here to the left-hand side. Oh, we got initial balance here, and we just cracked IB low. If you want to check out Bookmap, I'll throw this in chat. Boom. All right, it is 10:36 a.m. Eastern. We have the initial balance from Edgeful set. But before we even throw that on the chart, I wanted to play with this What's in Play feature. Kind of cool to see. You can throw something like just NQ on the chart. Oh, how do I get rid of everything else? Let's get rid of all of these. Cool. So it shows you, exactly like it says, what's in play across whatever asset you want to look at. It gives you popular reports that are playing out in real time. So for example, big surprise, the first one that's on here is the initial balance. The first 60 minutes opening range on NQ. Broken to the downside. It's showing you breakdown only. A single break has occurred 82% of the days. This is probably over the last 6 months of data. We can go ahead and mark that out real quick, just so we know. Edgeful is a data provider. If you guys don't know what Edgeful is, they are a statistics and data provider. Let's make that our purple color. That's going to be our IB high. That's the break. That's the break. That's going to be our IB low right there. We can go ahead and mark it. Back over to Edgeful real quick. And again, if you guys want to check it out, I'll throw the link in the chat. I'm partner and affiliated with all these guys, right? I always try to be transparent about that. Can't be unbiased if I'm stand to make money, which I do. So do your own research, make your own decisions. I find this stuff pretty dang helpful. We got breakdown showing what's in play. Okay, opening candle continuation, also showing to the downside. You can click on it to view even more details. You can go to the actual report itself and take a look at the stats on it. But I want to stay with this one and just take a look here. Short, short, short. Everything's calling for shorts. Opening range breakout on the 15-minute was a short only. It broke out to the downside, it looks like. Initial balance by weekday, 70% single break on Tuesday. That's not even as strong as the normal one. But yeah, these are all giving us a pretty aggressive short call. Now, this one's interesting. This is a 5-day ADR, so kind of similar to ATR, average true range. We have an average daily range, right? This is giving us NQ's 5-day average daily range. It's saying that a little over half the time, 64%, we stay within the ADR range on Tuesday. This is showing that we have traded almost all of that ADR. So that would be a little bit more of a, hey, play the bounce to the upside. We're already trading through the full average daily range of NQ. Just to kind of read some of these out loud to you guys and how I interpret them. Previous day range on NQ, we got a double break. Again, that one's showing we cracked TradingView, only giving us one candle for Monday and Tuesday. So I'm assuming that this is reading that we cracked Monday's high and low to the upside and then the downside, which it looks like we did. Opening candle continuation by weekday. Sure. The by weekday stuff, I don't need to see as much. We looked at the opening range breakout, the orb, 5-day ADR. Again, we're looking at that. We filled most of that. We would have to be extending that if we were going to continue the downside. So I don't mind the longs on something like this. I just don't love playing for a huge continuation to the upside. But I like this to be around the low. You know, it doesn't previous day's range by weekday, double buys, double break. Okay. Kind of cool to see. So this one's interesting though. This one's kind of interesting to see. Let's go to ADR, not by weekday. This is giving us a 5-day average daily range. This is showing you the daily range on NQ over the last few days, right? You can scroll through and see a ton of them. And then I think down here it actually is going to show you what does it measure. Actually just measure this myself out of complete curiosity, make sure I'm understanding this correctly. Yeah, that was a big boy. Yeah, it's giving you the average daily range. Can we look at an average daily range for like 10 days? Let me see if I can adjust that. And then we can trade alongside some statistics as we're scalping here like absolute psychopaths on the 1 minute. So, you know, slim chance that we come back up here and break it. Of course, anything could happen at any time for any reason. I would not be a person, you know, favoring trading for the break of IB high after a break of the low. It's just not something that occurs often. But I'm curious to see on the ADR because I do like paying attention to average daily ranges, average session ranges. I'm curious to see what the what's happened over the 10-day range exceeded. Yeah, around 50%. But I mean, you know, exceeding or not exceeding, that's not really so much what I'm paying attention to. I like to see more of just what that average daily range is, a 5-day ADR. Can I customize that? Let me see. Not to get even more. That's not doing anything. Range to ADR by weekday. No, by extension. Oh, yeah. That's changing the period of the ADR. So let me just see what happens if we do this. Current day's range, current ADR. It's not adjusting this ADR right here, so that's a little interesting. Sorry, I don't want to get too zoomed in on this. But guys, if you want to check out Edgeful, I think it's super helpful, which is kind of what I do with it right here. Oh, there we go. That's the ADR look back. I don't know what this is over here. Can we go back to 5? Will this adjust it? I've played with it too much. I've messed it up too much. ADR, interesting. So we've gotten all the way down to that average daily range, at least the 5-day ADR, which I'm able to see on this. We've traded 366, 365 some odd points here, showing us maybe we respect some of that average daily range here off of this IB low. After we've broken it to the downside, after we've broken the orb to the downside, I don't know that I want to be targeting a move to the upside. But let me go ahead and throw this link in chat. If you guys want to check out Edgeful, we're hanging out here. Link provides a discount, no code needed. 20% off if you want to check out Edgeful. Where's the graphic? There we go. Trade with data, not emotions. I think Edgeful can be, and you know, data like that, statistics like that, can be really incredibly helpful. I really do. I do think it needs to be, you know, combined, right, with other information that you're using. I don't think anything, you know, in isolation is really enough in trading. I think most people would agree with that. But I do think trying to find your way in on the right side of data and statistics can benefit you. Can benefit you. And even if you don't want to do that, at least being aware that you're on the wrong side of objective data and statistics if you want to trade against it can be helpful. Especially for beginners. Especially for beginners. Can really shortcut a lot of backtesting. Whoa, I definitely don't need to be on the 15-minute to do that. Just adjusting value area high and low. And I actually wanted to see how much it changes across the 5-minute and the 1-minute. Not much at all. It's our current volume point of control, current value area low. Marking these out so we can see them. Marking out the point of control, value area low. Bottom right. This way we can see what we got going on here. We don't get confused because now we got a couple things on the chart here. Just for some frame of reference, not using anything really exclusively here. Let's get ready for some trading here, chat. As we hang out, seeing if we can't find some more trades here. Rather, wait for some good opportunities. Excuse me. Excuse me. So far, 1 W, 1 break even. Beautiful lineup on YM that I didn't get to capitalize on. Again. Talked about that off the open. You don't have to right now, but sometime can you explain how that actually works on the chart? Yes. The Edgeful, what we were talking about? I can explain. I will do that today. We'll explain a couple reports from Edgeful. Does anybody have? Here's a good question. Does anybody have anything they want to see from Edgeful? Because I don't know. I don't know how much they want me to just give you my version of it because it is a paid program. But I'm happy to display it and talk about it and use some examples. Does anyone want to see anything specific as far as statistics around an opening range breakout, initial balance breakout, you know, average daily ranges, things like that on a specific instrument? You know, like, do you guys want to look at ES's initial balance breakout report? Something specific like that? I'm happy to talk about it. I could talk about there's a lot of reports on there. I could talk about the reports that I like, which I have marked up, which is initial balance, and then also average daily ranges. Really average daily. I want to look more at average session ranges as well. But I'm happy to talk about that. I'm happy to talk about that. And essentially, just to break down what it is, right? Edgeful is a data and statistics provider, right? It's a web-based platform, and they give objective data. right, math behind specific things in the market, like ranges, price movements, price and time. I don't know how much they do with different volume, but for a bunch of different instruments, futures, stocks, crypto, and really many of the important things or just popular things that retail traders are going to look at. They also provide indicators for all of it, a ton of videos explaining what the hell it is, and what it can be really useful for is determining, which is kind of what we look for in backtesting and in technical analysis, what is occurring more often than not based on historical data, right? It cannot predict the future inherently, but it can tell you over the last 6 months of data, if we come down and break IB low, how many times do we come back up and break IB high, right? It could tell you, given the 5-day ADR, how many days over the last however many days are we looking, have we exceeded that average daily range? How many days are we respecting that average daily range, right? Like we are right now. That can be helpful the same way that backtesting can be helpful to determine, what's happening. If we open up with a green 1-hour candle, or if we open up with a red 1-hour candle, how often, how many times over the last 2 years of data have we closed that day red or green, right? That can be helpful to know. Some of this stuff is common. Some of this stuff is, found in backtesting, but some of it's not. Again, I always refer to one. I was trading Power Hour on Top Step TV for quite a while back in the day, which was a Friday. But I was trading Power Hour back in the day quite a bit on a big live stream. And I was not aware of a really, really strong statistic, which was the new high of day or new low of day percent that gets put in during Power Hour. Power Hour is the last hour of NYSE session before the markets close. There's a statistic that says, like 80% of the time, I think it's still over 80% of the time, on the US indices, we are not putting a new high of day or a new low of day in the last hour of the session. That's important to know about. Now, a lot more goes into that, right? Do we have news? What does the day look like before the last final hour, right? Of course, all this context comes into play. But objectively, I was trading for a new high of day or a new low of day in Power Hour a lot. And it was kind of eye-opening to realize that I was trading for something that was not happening often at all, right? At all. So, it can be helpful to kind of to understand those, even if you're not going to create a strategy exclusively around it. It was helpful for me someone made me aware of it, honestly. Said, hey bro, like you're constantly short in the market for new lows of days coming into the last 30 minutes of the session. Like 90% of the days, what you're trying to trade for is not happening, So maybe you want to like grain of salt that play, Again, context is important. Are we ripping everybody's face off to the downside on tariff news, right? And we're exceeding every average daily range and session range and disrespecting every level? Sure, maybe you're shorting into momentum, right? There's certainly nuances here. That's where discretion comes in, context comes in. But I do think that stuff can be extremely helpful. So, again, if you want to check it out, link is in the chat for Edgeful. As I am looking at a little buy ski if we test this again. Right now I'm looking at a little short ski as we test value area low and point of control again. $600s. Very similar to play to what I just took before, right? We don't know what's going to happen next in the market. We never really know with any reasonable degree of certainty. I like this a little bit higher up. I'd like to get the stop outside of here. Could size down and widen out, but I really don't want to do that. Let's see. want to fade this if we pop now. Here comes the discretion. Here comes the intuition, the subjective interpretation of what's going on the chart, combining price action, market structure, volume, individual candle movements, which is price action, order flow, in the dumb way that I read all of this stuff, and deciding when to click the buy and sell button and how to structure risk. I think we come right in here. I like this for a target. I'm just waiting for the right risk structure and movement here. I don't know that I want to fade this. Just taking a look around at all of these, kind of looking what they're doing. Nobody's really on a tear here. I'm going to have hesitated too much. I might go for it off the 600s, but I'm going to just going to give this a second here. Yeah, we're either going to go to the upside or we're going to come back down on this real quick. Yeah, I don't have enough conviction in this one, but this is it. Damn. All right. That's what I was waiting for. Right around those 600s, we got there, but didn't have enough conviction in this one. This is the trade. Building. We're building on NQ. We're building on NQ here, right? Patience. Patience, patience, patience. Patience with execution. That's really what I would have been looking for on that one. Would have been very nice. 200 points, 200 ticks to the downside would have been pretty sweet. Didn't quite get there yet, but we'll see what that looks like. Since I switched to one trade a day, kept all my accounts for 45 days without blowing while I got payouts. Nice, dude. I love to hear that, Mad Trader. Love to hear that. I spent the entire 2025 blowing multiple accounts per week. Yep, finally things started to work. Dude, slowing down. Slowing down. W's in the chat for slowing down. Nothing wrong with that, man. You know, stop hammering it if it's not working. Stop driving the car with the flat tire. W's in the chat for Mad Trader. Beautiful. Kept all of his accounts for almost 2 months without blowing, and I got payouts. Beautiful, dude. That should be your goal. You know, there was a point for me with prop firms for sure that I needed to slow down before getting more aggressive. For me, when I first came over to futures prop firms, it was a learning curve, and I was just, learning and testing everything. But I was just ripping through accounts, ripping through evals, like just not doing anything. And eventually I said, okay, all right, this is enough. I'm starting to get some stuff that's working, but I'm being way too aggressive. Let me slow down. And I set a goal to get funded, just get funded with, back then there was no instant funded accounts. Back then, it's not that long ago. But no instant funded accounts. Get funded with multiple day pass evals. Get max funded, right? Max out the amount of accounts that you're allowed to have before you try to do anything in the funded accounts, like slow myself down that much. And then my goal, which I hit, was to not lose any funded accounts, just to trade them all towards one payout. Take your first payout before you blow funded accounts, right? And then I did that. And then it was continually, like, to the continual progression, right? Get a little bit more aggressive, right? Maybe trade towards multiple payouts, more frequent payouts, right? But there's a balance in there, man. There's a balance there between not understanding the prop firm game, for better or for worse, that we have to play a little bit in order to have an efficient use of time, understanding their rule set, where the real risk to reward opportunity is with them. There's a balance between, that and being just way too aggressive, just YOLOing, hoping, wishing, praying, gambling, and not respecting them at all, just over trading into oblivion, and just not doing anything that's going to, present any consistency, right? There's a balance in there, and many skew too far to the second one, the latter. So that's awesome, dude. Way to go. And again, if you're being really aggressive and you're not taking payouts, or if you have something that's not working, no matter what you're doing, slow down. Like, why are you pressing it, right? It's the analogy, like, if you were driving a car and the car started to make noise, right? You still want to get to the destination. In this case, it's trading with prop firms for a payout. But if you're trying to get to a destination, your car started to make noise, and you keep hammering it, you're just going to break the car more. You're going to lose more money. If you know you have a flat tire, and then another flat tire, and then another flat tire, and you're like, if I just gas it, maybe I could get there. What do? Oftentimes, you total the car, you lose all of the money that you have to trade with, and then you have to go to the dealership and get a new car, and then come back, right? Rather than just like pulling over, slowing down trading prop firms, and like starting to fix one tire, and then driving slowly when you have a spare on until you are able to put a new tire on, right? I'm a big analogy guy. But like someone made that analogy, like everybody's like hammering the gas pedal and the wheels are flying off the car, sparks are flying everywhere, and they're like, why won't I make it to the destination? Like, dude, just pull over. Just pull over. The car's broken. Just stop. Just stop. Take your foot off the gas. Pull over. Try to fix the car. And then when you get back on the highway, drive really slowly. And then maybe you'll start to get to that destination. It will be slower, but you might actually get there before you explode. So that's my analogy for the stream on this one. Funny though. All right, guys, we're coming into 11 a.m. right here. Gonna be right back. Gonna take a quick break. Be right back with you guys. I think you might know what we got coming up next. Don't go anywhere. All right, guys, back in action with you here. Back in action with you here, man. Kind of a slow session for me before we get ready to run the giveaway, which I think you guys know is coming up next. Kind of a slow session for me, man. Missed a really nice opportunity. If you hopped on late on YM, just come back over it and get a little bit of review going. That would have been beautiful. Wanted the shorts up here. Talked about how I might capitalize a little bit better on that. NQ, one win, one break even for plus 500 bucks in profit on this account. Back to VWAP here. We'll watch this. I might take some more, but this isn't insane. It's just not great price action for me. Big sell-off and then coming off the lows. We'll probably get a little bit better for what I look for coming into the afternoon. Not going anywhere just yet, but probably will get a little bit better because I think we're just going to calm down and chop here, man. Here's the average daily range low getting respected, so definitely interested to watch. So, now that we got that out of the way, if you want a chance to win an instant funded account from Top 1 Futures, the form is going live in the chat right now. Listen up, everybody. Listen up. Use your ears on this one. You have to be following on Instagram. My Instagram is at RealDealZach. It's on the form. The link is on the form. You gotta be following me on IG in order to win this one. All right, so go ahead, get the form filled out. I'll give you guys a little bit longer on this one because I'm asking you to go and follow on IG. Gonna speed run it to a zillion followers. But that is needed. For today's, still no purchase necessary, still a simple form. I took a couple of boring questions off there. We did a little survey on Friday. Still nothing but clicking some buttons, guys. And we'll get somebody funded with a 50K instant funded account from Top 1 Futures, an Ignite instant funded account. Shout out Top 1 Futures for supporting me, supporting the stream. Let me go ahead and get this on Kick for you guys. Hang on, Kick. It's coming, Kick. Don't worry. Don't worry. How do we do it? There we go. There you go, Kick. Awesome. Yeah, guys, so remember, what did I just say? What did I just say, guys? It's so funny. I'm just gonna let you guys fill it out, whatever. You know, again, I have different stuff. We run sometimes where we're doing something on X, on Kick, on YouTube, you know, whatever it is, man. Whatever it is. Simple stuff. But just read the form, get it filled out, and the instructions are as clear as they can possibly be. Give you guys about, I'll give you guys about 5 minutes to get it filled out. We'll give us about 5 minutes. If you're on X, let me throw this back up while I get the form. If you're on X, if you're on Twitter, what are you doing? Dang, why is my thing not showing live on X? That's weird. Weird. Well, if you're on X, links in my bio. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Back to VWAP up here. I'm watching this 700s for a quick short, unless we just run, man. Run right to value area high. We're going to speed run it up. Do I want to risk the profit on this? I do. Oh, damn it. Hold on. I can't, I'm not gonna be able to like do much on the stream and actually be able to trade in the way that I want to trade here on NQ. This is what I was watching, consolidating above the 700s, consolidating. Let's see, got a little more above. I'm looking for a dip right back down here. I'm gonna take it up here, guys. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna risk the profit that I made on this one so far. Maybe we go one win, one loss. I'm gonna look for us to stay inside of this volume profile right here, which we're not doing. Looks like we want to break right to the upside. We got a big CVD on this one. For a quick retest right down around VWAP, down to this high volume node. We also had quite a bit of liquidity right here that we were breaking through, right into the 24,700s. Decent entry on this one, but it does look like bulls are in town, and we might just want to be ripping to the upside. Value area high up there. Not a beautiful spot to have a stop. But these are scalpy trades that I'm running. You know, I'm more concerned with getting comfortable scalping with like fixed take profit, fixed stop loss relative to ATR. I'm a little bit wider today with like 200 take profit and stop loss than I was last week. Probably want to be a little bit tighter, capture these smaller movements. But yeah, no harm, no foul. I'm in profit for the day, and nothing too major. Again, like I said, not a super exciting session. I'd like to try to run it up, take some more trades on this account, and this one would put me right back to break even after a break even plus a couple of ticks and a W, a $500 W. What are we doing on higher time frames? Yeah, we're cooking on the 15-minute here. Yeah, gnarly push back up to the upside. Cooking on the 15. Cooking on the 15. That's cool. I'm happy ending plus 1,000 or break even, which will be the outcome of this trade. Either $0 on the session, technically like 10 bucks, or plus 1,000. So let's see what we can do. Let's see what the market's got for me. So far, looks like we want to blast right through value area high, come up here and test this next decently high volume area. Push through up here, maybe value area high on this one, current value area high. But looks like we want to come maybe all the way back up here or up here for a push higher. Yep, buyers not taking their foot off the gas. Not yet. Looks like we want those 24,750s. Want to go check out current value area high. There it is. There's the stop filled. Back to break even on the session. I'm probably not going to scalp much more on this one. First one was what would have been a W that I stopped at break even. Second was a W. Third was a stop for break even on the session. Probably not going to press my luck, man. Again, not really the price action that I like on this. I did like this one for a retest right back down to this area. Right in here. That was pretty clean right around VWAP. We oftentimes just don't push higher through VWAP and then just continue pushing. Did have value area high up here. It was a little dicey to get involved, but I did like what we had going on Bookmap right here before we came higher and put all of that in. Right in here. That was the potential short play. All right. Giveaway time now that we're back to break even here. Let's see what we got, guys. Let's see what we got. We got a bunch of responses in. We got the duck races ready to roll. Remember. One more time. I'm going to say this before we run it. One more time. For the people in the back. If you were reading the form, which I'm assuming you did because you had to fill it out, you have to have followed me on IG. If you didn't follow me on IG and you put NA on there, you can't win. So unfortunately, a lot of people did that, which is okay. Maybe you don't use Instagram. I totally understand that. But this one is going to be part of that deal. We're gonna get you on IG. So if you not able to do that, no problem, but you're not gonna catch the W on this one, okay? That's important to note. And if you said you followed, make sure you smash the follow button because I'm gonna check it. If you win, and just like if you win and you're not on YouTube, I'm like, well, how the hell did you win? Or maybe you're on like, Kick or X. Cool. All right. Giveaway form is done. No more responses. We're going to run the ducks. We're going to get somebody funded. Again, guys, we do different stuff, right? Not everybody uses social media. That's cool, man. It's fine, but sometimes you got to follow on social media, right? Not all the time, but sometimes, man. I give away accounts across all the different platforms individually. Sometimes we connect them. You guys help me out. I'm going to help you out. All right. We have 74 ducks in a row. Good luck to everybody. This is for a 50K Ignite instant funded account from Top 1 Futures. Let's go ahead and run it. Best of luck, best of luck. Good luck to all. I'm late. Zach, did you answer my question about Edgeville? I don't know. Probably not, unless I answered your question. I'm assuming you're asking because I didn't answer it. What is your question? And I will answer it. Good luck, chat. 24, 8, 20 pop coming. Some resistance at 200 EMA. 15-minute chart. Okay. 24, 8, 20 pop. Okay, looking for the 820s. Nice. Done. WWW. What did I miss? You answering my question. Well. Oh, yeah, maybe. I didn't know what it was. And you could ask it again. The business lens. Why don't you give away Instant Sim funded? This is Instant Sim funded. It is the Ignite Instant Sim funded. Why don't I give away the OG? Well, sometimes I give away the OG. Sometimes we give away the straight to Sim funded. Just depends. I've been on the Ignite 50Ks for quite a while. They are a relatively inexpensive account while still being an instant funded. So I can give them away like candy while still making them instant fundeds without evals or activation fees or challenges. If I gave away, for example, like the 150K OG instant fundeds that are significantly more, I probably would not be able to give nearly as many away. 24/7. 60s trade in. What did we do here? Stop me and then turn? No. We pushed all the way through value area high. Here comes the double break Tuesday. Yeah, dude. That's what it looks like. Oh, I asked about the power hour stat. Okay. Yeah. Okay, hang on after the giveaway, Train with Luan. After we do this, I'm not going to go anywhere. And we will show you we'll look at the power hour stat on what instrument you want to look at, Luan or Loon. How does the drawdown work on Top 1 Futures Live? Drawdown is end of day, standard end of day trailing drawdown, and that's it. Sorry, just standard. Well, technically there's no drawdown. Technically there's no drawdown. On a live account for Top 1 Futures, once you get moved in, you have your balance, and they have a maximum amount of that balance that they would allow you to lose, right? Like most prop firm live accounts, they're not just going to let you speed run it to zero by full porting it. You have a daily loss limit, which is a soft breach, and then you just have your entire balance to work with, less whenever they're going to cut you off. As you make profit, nothing trails up with you. As you lose money, nothing trails up or down with you. You just lose money. I'll go into it deeper, though. Dr. AK47, we got a winner on here. Hang on. Hang on, Dr. AK. Hang on now. Is he following on Instagram? Let's see. Let's see what we did here. Where we at, Dr. AK? He's an OG. He should be. Let's see. He or she should be. Yeah, following on IG as well. We got a W in the chat. Listen, guys, don't go anywhere just yet. First off, if you didn't win today, W's in the chat for Dr. AK taking the win on this one. A Discord OG, very nice. Love to see it. Now, if you didn't win today, first off, we're giving out accounts like candy here on the live streams almost every damn day, sometimes multiple per day. Sometimes Clay comes on and we give away a dozen of them. Feel free to hop on stream, 9:15 a.m. Eastern. Before you go anywhere, you know the people that dip out early never get it. Before you go anywhere, Clay will be back on stream, founder Top 1 Futures, on Thursday. Early info, guys. Early info. Here's the Easter egg. Clay will be back on stream. I can't tell you what we're going to do this time. Last time he was on, he gave out 5 50K instant funded accounts and ran a discount for 70% off, only available if you were on the stream. The time before that, we gave out 10 50K instant funded accounts. We just ran back-to-back duck races. We got like everybody funded. You might want to hop on stream on Thursday morning, 9:15 a.m. Eastern. He will be live with me. You can also answer questions, get your questions answered, give feedback directly to a prop firm founder, the person who is creating the plans and pulling the strings. So if you guys want to do that, Thursday with Clay, live the rest of the week, 9:15 a.m. Eastern, same as today. Running these a little bit longer, maybe. We'll see. You know, today is okay, but we'll see. So if you guys want to check that out, we'll be giving out accounts all week. Don't miss Thursday. I can't say what we are going to do again, but last time it was 70% off on stream for, I think, your next account or multiple, like whatever it was, and then we gave away 5 instant funded. So I keep asking these guys to come on. I'm doing it for you. Obviously, I get a whole lot of engagement out of it. It's super exciting, but take advantage, guys. Be here for it. You know, they're not all the time where we get to give away $500,000 in instant funded accounts on one stream and get 10 people funded with no purchase necessary. And the stream has like 100 people on it. You have like a 1 in 10 chance of winning a $200 account, you know? So I don't know. You guys do whatever you want. I'm grateful that you're here. Super hyped. I'm grateful that these guys keep coming on. So it's awesome. But don't miss Thursday, man. For the rest of it, 9:15 a.m. Eastern, almost every damn day. Right here. The rest of the week, 9:15. Now, Luan. Train with Luan. We were talking about Edgeful. Let me come back over to it. Talk about Edgeful. Let me come back over to it. The question was, let's go to reports. Let's look at, let's look at ES. And then let's look at Power Hour Breakout. Check this out, guys. Check this out. Yeah, this was the stat. Luan asked over what amount of time or what the percents were. ES, Power Hour, the last hour of the day, over the last 6 months of data. Maybe you say, hey, Zach, that's not enough. I want to look at a year. I don't think it changes that much. It actually got better. Over the last year, a new high of day was only made 25% of the time. In the last hour of the day, a new low of day was only made 16% of the time over the last year of trading days on ES. That, to me, is significant. I think it's probably important to know about. Is it important to take this into context? Absolutely. Does this provide you with an 83% win rate? Absolutely not. That doesn't even make sense. But is it important to know that 83% of the time over the last 1 year of data, one thing is happening over another? If you're trading that instrument at that time of the day, probably, especially if you keep shorting ES during Power Hour over and over and over again for something that's only happening 16% of the time, right? You probably want to know about that. I think that can be pretty important to check out. So I hope that answered the question, Train with Luan. If you have another one or you want to see like NQ, for example, we can just look at it. I don't know if NQ is as strong, but I think it's pretty damn strong. Yeah, it's almost the exact same. 23%, it's even stronger. 23% of the time, new high of day made. Only 16% of the time, new low of day made. So pretty aggressive, man. Pretty aggressive there. But that is Edgeful. Again, if you guys want to check it out, I will throw the link in the chat to check these guys out. Shout out Edgeful. There you go. No problem, man. Yeah, he was there. Shout out Edgeful. And last but not least, before we get ready to wrap it, still 60% off, code RDF on Top 1 Futures. If you want to check them out, 60% off your first or next account, 50% off of that, code RDF. Hope you guys had a good session with me here. Not super exciting. Happy to end flat, taking a few trades, but nothing too crazy out of this session. Remember, guys, quick disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do is suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. Make sure you do your own research. Make your own trading decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even if funded prop firm accounts. And the affiliate and partnership disclaimer. This is I stand to make money from links to codes in my content, like Top 1 Futures, code RDF, Bookmap, and others. Appreciate you guys hopping on. I will see you back here tomorrow, 9:15 a.m. Eastern. Have an awesome rest of the day. Trade well. Trade well.